What did people say you normally look like? Who? Who did say you normally look like?
Richard Simmons mostly.
Richard Simmons?
No. Richard.
Hello to all the hair besties in the land. It is me, your #1 hair bestie, Guy Tang, and I'm here with Nora.
Hi, guys.
Our artistic team member, and our model, Shannon. And she's from Louisiana.
And Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. It's LA too.
2 LAs.
2 LAs. You're La La Land.
La La Land.
You know what? Today we're going to talk about Stroke 7, which is our Rose Balayage Lightener. It's so exciting because it's not basic. We like to make it fun for everyone, and we're going to re-identify you. Why do you think we call it Stroke 7, Shannon? I want to know. What?
Because you have to stroke it before you penetrate.
You're
The color. Yeah?
Yeah, okay. You're a naughty one. We better get started. All right, guys. So when I balayage Shannon's hair or any client's hair of yours, I feel like what's most important is sectioning the hair. I like to do minimal sectioning. Look for the highest point of her head. And I dissect it all the way down, section her hair, spread it apart. The less sectioning we do, the easier to navigate, because when there's so many clips and you're twisting and braiding and doing all this out the way, you create more crinkles in the hair, which makes it more harder. Balayage is more about being quick and efficient and getting the highlights done naturally as quick as possible sometimes. So clip that section out the way, Nora. Make sure it's even to her left side. You section it down and clip her parietal area out the way. Okay, just like that. Take the center part of her hair and just kind of go all the way down. This is very important that it's even. All the hair besties in the land have been following me for quite some time, know Diamonds in the Sky. So today I'm gonna show you all the ways that I like to do it. Okay, so this is a great time for me to start mixing the Rose Balayage Lightener. So we got the paddle. You can see that is a rose gold flavoration to the tonality.
It matches my shoes.
Shows your shoes. Take off your shoes, girl. Can I smell it?
No, don't smell
I
it.
can't smell it.
No, but
So what's cool about the paddle is it's extra long. So if you have really long hair clients, you can now extend it, pull the hair in, it'll fit. And also you have your deep dish.
like a pizza?
Like a pizza, which is really important because this is where you can put all your products and you have to go back and forth into the bowl. There are some brushes. This is your favorite.
This is my favorite. I mean, little guys need love. I mean, I like
You're
this
not
one.
a size queen. She's not a size queen.
Well,
And then we got the new bowl, and they interconnect to put your tab in here so you get to keep track if you're doing multiple formulas. We are gonna show you the Stroke 7 Rose Balayage. Okay, so my favorite mixture is 1:3 ratio because you get the right consistency. If I'm doing 50 grams of the powder, I'm gonna do 150 grams of the thick activator. So in the kit, you're gonna get the 30 volume thick activator. Squeeze out the product here. Take a look at that. It's very nice and thick. All right, and it keeps going. Ooh, my. Oh.
it's like a mountain.
There you go. There's 1:3 ratio. So get the whisk, mix her up. You stir it slowly and take your time. You're gonna break it down and you're not gonna make a mess. The reason why I like to use balayage specific clay-based lightener is that you don't have to worry about transfer. You don't have to worry about it bleeding. Also, the fact that it lifts 7 levels is really, really cool. Oh my gosh, yes! All right, ready to get started? Go from the right side of her ear and cross over diagonally down and pivot towards her nape area, right? That creates our first triangle, all right? So what I do is I hold the paddle on my left hand, place Stroke 7 inside of the reservoir, okay? I like to stroke on the paddle to smooth out the application on the bristles. So you'll see me over direct the hair just like this. It's very gentle to the hair, so you don't have to worry about like if you overlap, will it cause a lot of breakage or anything like that. So you'll see me apply the product onto the midsection first, okay? I go at an angle and you can see how quick I stroke it on. Slowly stroke it up. But if you really want a stronger lift, you gotta pack it on. So get a lot of product, pack it, and then stroke it up.
And you can always add more, but if you've put too much, it's kind of hard to like remove the product. So you can always build to it, like you would build on your foundation.
And then with With the remaining product that's on the paddle, you place it right under that section, okay? So there's adherence of the product underneath. Let me just grab this so you guys get to see how it's penetrating in the bottom. It's very soft and blended, but I want her hair to look sun-kissed and natural and not so like a deliberate ombre, like balayage into the ombre. If I choose to lay a mesh sheet or foil over it, you could push it up to 7 levels, it'll lift further, and maybe use some heating lamps, right?
Right.
You could push it further, but if you want more of a natural result, let it process open air, just like this. Yeah, so we'll do that. Or if you want to cover up here as well, you could, but let's do like where it transitions and blends down all the way to the ends. Her ends are already pretty light, so I'm leaving those very tips out. So I'm gonna pivot from the same point and go straight across horizontally. I'm gonna show you guys what I like to use the smaller brush for. Start in the center, creating my V shape.
And I just say that I love that it's a pinky rosy color.
I do too. It makes it so much more fun.
It's not gonna turn her hair pink, but it's just fun to work with. Like, it just makes your job more enjoyable, I think.
I want to put it on a cupcake and eat it.
So you see, you could go into a W. This way, you can see your points. So you see 3 points blending into the balayage. Let's say you put too much product on your brush and you accidentally go, oops, oh no. Work with it. Okay, you gotta get this product, stroke it down, blend it through. The whole thing about the clay lightener is that it's so much more forgiving. Not just any clay lightener, but stroke 7 with a thick developer. The thick developer is key here to get the right consistency. So oftentimes we like to just, I don't know, we tend to, as hairstylists, sometimes just, oh, let's just use what.
Oh, like I'm out of this, I'm just gonna mix it. You can't do that because you're not gonna get consistent results. The product isn't gonna work for you the way that it should if you're not mixing it with the dedicated developer.
In order to get this frosting like consistency, you have to mix it with this dedicated developer so you get the full experience, the right lift, and I think.
And that's why measuring is important too.
Measuring is important. I feel like a lot of us sometimes just like to just pour the developer in with the powder. Oh, just eyeball it. Whatever happens, happens. And I think that that's not the case here. I think it's so important. And a lot of times I'll go on Facebook, I'll read the forums, and people say like, oh, you only have to do that with this line. And so it's like, no, you should do that always. You should measure. I overlaid the mesh sheets to incubate so it can lift a little bit further. This is the last section here. There's 2 more pieces at the top. This is the veil, and when I get to the top, what I don't want to do is create like a stripe or a block at the top. This is where the hair pivots and it separates, right? When I go up to that section, I don't want to do a complete paneling. You'll see me go into more of the W shape or the V shape, right? That way it blends up into the routage or the scalpage, if you will. Okay, so you gotta hold the hair nice and taut. Set the paddle underneath my thumb. Always, always stroke, because you want minimal, smooth product. Think of it as makeup, guys. I love contouring my face. You gotta contour my cheekbones and my jawline, You gotta make sure you feather, right? It's the same concept. So you'll see me go right to mid shaft, stroke, okay, and you're gonna blend. Okay, so you'll see me go lower and kind of feather up as much as possible. So take a look at this section here. Notice it's at a diagonal, right? It's gonna be more forgiving. You're not gonna get a demarcation line underneath. You wanna leave the core center almost like an ice cream cone. You're not gonna penetrate all the way through because I want to have full potential lift of stroke 7. I am opting to use our mesh sheet and applying it over the top and underneath to incubate so we can lift it furthermore. Now this is the last section, right? Okay, I want to show you a different technique that I like to do. Completely elevate the hair up. So you see me paint upwards, but the cool thing is painting upwards allow you to get more precision underneath. So think about like when you lift hair up to cut hair, when it drops down, it stretches the hair so you get more of a blend. And then I overextend and stretch the hair down, right? And this gives me anchorage. Again, going at an angle, painting it down. This is how we do it. All right, so now that we are on the side of her left head, what I think is very important here is to make sure to leave out the frontage around the face. Okay, so I'm gonna section this piece out, and this is gonna be the lighter piece around her face. And what's gonna be cool is that I'm just gonna hold this section on her parietal area, vertically outwards, right? Okay, get my paddle in my hand. Apply stroke 7 down the center and stroke it into close to the routage, but not all the way.
I like that we're like British and French all of a sudden.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like saying things, letting things come out of my mouth.
It's fun.
Hold the head nice and taut.
Nice and taut.
Apply the product.
It's very lovely and creamy.
Okay, I'm just gonna lay a mesh sheet down. And Nora, go ahead and place the mesh sheet right over. Rocking around the Christmas tree. Oh, it's not Christmas, but you know, we're gonna go around this way. I'm gonna hold the hair over directed towards her face, right? Applying right behind that section. So now we're gonna flip it over. Okay, you ready to rotate?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, now we're back over here again. Now that we stretch that section back away from her face, I get to balayage and stroke it through. When you see the smaller, shorter baby hairs around the face, you have to omit that and leave them out because they're gonna end up looking like breakage.
Yeah, you don't want to draw attention to those short pieces because then it looks like you broke them and you made them short, but they were already short. You just brought the eye to it.
So I'm gonna kind of leave this out, and that's gonna be the face framer. So I'm gonna go right behind it. This is gonna be the whole diamond section, the whole triangle that I'm actually gonna take in and balayage this whole section. Her hair is really thick, so this whole center piece that you're seeing inside is gonna be the dark low light cone. So do I wanna hit the front, the top, and the bottom? Why not? Because you have that low light internally, right? So think about that. Your love has lifted me higher. Okay, so we're gonna stroke 7 up her hair by lifting it up. I'm gonna put tension. Okay, I'm gonna stretch it. I'm gonna keep holding those ends. Stretch, stretch, stretch. I'm gonna stretch her. Do you feel stretched?
I feel very stretched.
Good.
More so than yoga does.
She's funny.
But you see this? You see how I stretch? And now we have a flat panel because sometimes you gotta get it from the front and the back. Going from the middle, stroke my way up. What I like about using the mesh is that it keeps the product moist. When the product is left moist, the lift continues.
Keeps working.
When the product dries out, it forms a shell and it stops the lifting process. But again, a clay lightener is not expected to lift beyond its point.
This is not what you would use for a global
Platinum. So if you want her to be like Elsa, use Big 9, use Magnum 8, but if you want Sunkissed Natural color, then you're gonna get that with stroke 7. So I'm just gonna finish off this section and we're gonna jump to the front piece. What I think is very important is that you don't get it too close to the scalp. Remember, the hair around the hairline not only is finer, it's fresher, and also it's hotter near the scalp. The worst is to look like you're a cockroach with two bright
antennas.
Yes, like the two bright antennas popping up around the face. It's like, hi everyone, I got 2 antennas, right? You don't want that.
Yeah, I might be into it.
You might be into it? So I'm gonna over direct it down, pack the product on heavily down the center, go right up. So I'm gonna stretch her hair to the side here to make sure I apply some product right there on the side panel, and then we are done. Typically, we process for anywhere up to 45 minutes. And if you want to lift the hair a little bit more, put them under the heated lamps, right?
Yeah, the heat lamp.
All right, guys, we'll be back. All right, so we are back with Shannon. So you can see her balayage highlights around her face look super, super natural. You can see the contrast as I pull her hair here. Okay, so you can see the separation in the highlights that I put in with Diamonds in the Sky. You get up to 7 levels of lift. However, the placement that I took Diamonds in the Sky, even though they're really large block sections and you're laying the product on very heavy, her hair is wet, so it is kind of hard to see the highlights in the dimension, but take a look closely. When I separate the hair and move it around, you get to see the dimension right in there through that triangular sectioning of Diamonds in the Sky. On the ends, you can see her hair got lighter. So just so you guys get to see the contrast, I'm gonna lift her hair up next to her base, so you can see that it definitely lifted. All right, so her hair is damp. This is a great time for me to go in using the express toners. We're gonna use Sandstorm on her. Right at the routage, I'm gonna add clear right through the ends. Okay, so go ahead and start mixing, Nora. Clear is very important because the deposit level of express toners is at a level 9, except with Eclipse. Eclipse has a deposit level down to a 6. So if you want to create a shadow routage, you can add Eclipse into any of the express toner formulation, whether it's 5 grams, 10 grams, half of the formulation, you're able to create more depth at the routage if you want to. Or if you're balayaging someone with really, really dark hair that's level 1 to 3, like myself, and you lift them up to a level 7, kind of orangey, Eclipse will eclipse all of that brassiness and give them that smoky ash brown. So you can use it alone or intermix it. So just always remember, Eclipse does have a deposit level of level 6. The rest of the express toner shades have a deposit level of a 9. So if you do need to make a level 10 express toner, always add crystal clear to the formula. What's your mixing ratio here?
1 to 2.
1 to 2, guys. What I don't want to do is break the base of any sort, so that's why I always mix it 1 to 2. The cool thing about Eclipse is that it's smoky, right?
It's like dark shadows, but for toner.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna put on my hand condoms now. We're gonna get started.
I am ready to rock.
Smells so divine.
Doesn't it smell delicious?
We also have the new Guy Tang My Dandy tools. This is in rose gold also. You get to see that there's a comb and a brush on the other side, so you get to apply the toner and then comb it through if needed to. All right, guys, so I'm gonna apply Sandstorm on the base and smear it down. So Shannon, you have a little bit of a story to tell us. You've gone through quite a bit in your life. You're mentioning to me, like, when you're 4 years old, you have some challenges in your life. Tell us about it.
I was visiting my father up in Washington State, and I walked in on him in his bedroom. I was with my little brother at the time. My brother was 3, I was 4, and my father was at the end of his bed, completely destroyed and in a clump of tears, with a gun in his hand to his head. I was, quickly yelled at and, rushed out of the room. He had a friend who was there, and she remained in the room to talk him off the ledge, so to speak. I remember sitting there thinking my daddy's very upset and what a gun can mean. And the gun went off.
What?
And I remember thinking at that moment that my dad was dead. He had just shot it into the ceiling rather than at himself.
Oh, good.
His friend kind of talked him out of doing it, I guess. I'm not sure, I wasn't in that room. The police came and handcuffed him and put him in the back of their police car and took him to jail. I was very confused about that because my little 4-year-old brain thought my daddy's hurt. Because at this point I wasn't sure if he had shot himself or not. And it was never really talked about or explained to me what had happened. It was kind of swept under the rug. And I took that in my 4-year-old human self to mean that I wasn't enough. And that I wasn't enough to keep my daddy happy or wanting to live. And that perception of myself and my self-worth carried through and got reinforced by different things that happened throughout the years. It's interesting that I've chosen a lot of, life of modeling and performing.
Okay, so now I'm adding the crystal clear to the Sandstorm formula. So it'll be equal parts Sandstorm and crystal clear. And then we're gonna mix the dedicated 6-volume developer, 1 to 2 ratio.
So Shannon already got the Sandstorm processing on her routage through the midshaft. I left the areas around her face frame out a little bit because I wanted to be bright around there. So now Nora is mixing crystal clear into the existing Sandstorm formula that's in the bowl. Usually the ends are more porous, so you guys remember, it's gonna suck up the color and becomes kind of drabby. So you wanna shear that out so you have less deposit so the color look more seamless. All right, so I'm just gonna bring that on down, and you could just smudge that base formula with the Sandstorm concentration all the way through. And a lot of times I feel like we're always seeking validation from other people. As humans, we're always like, oh, will he like what I wear? Or will she like what I look like? Will they want me to look like this? When we really should validate ourselves.
Yeah.
We're always worrying about what people think about us, but we should be worrying about what we think about ourselves. What do I want? What do I want to do? We're always worried about what everybody wants us to do. It affects our work life, it affects our personal life, and I'm over it. Honestly, are you over it?
I am. I think we are happier once we embrace what we are and what we want for ourselves and not for others.
I was like, can we just stop it with just the world wanting stuff from us? Just let me do what I want to do. You know?
Full self-love and self-acceptance. Self-acceptance of our flaws and embracing them and being proud of who we are, where we've come from.
Let us do
Yeah.
us, right? Let me be me. Don't you agree?
I agree.
To let us be me.
Well said.
Let us be me.
Let it.
So we can let her process for 5 to 10 minutes and she'll be ready. Cause I want it all or nothing at all.
I want it all, like
Her hair?
all of it. Look at that.
Shannon got stroke 7 on her hair. How do you feel?
I feel stroked
Stroked?
and like I have it all.
You do have it all, don't you?
I want it all.
You guys, we did a bunch of stuff, didn't we? We put sandstone in her hair. It looks so pretty. Look at the color. When she turns her head, it looks so natural. No matter where she moves, there is no like demarcation line. It's seamless, right? It looks
Natural.
Like she was born with it.
maybe she's born with it, right? But what did we do? We stroked you?
He stroked me and then he penetrated me.
Penetrate.
With the color. Oh. And then you fingered me. My curls.
Oh, that's a
You
good
fingered the
one.
curls. Yeah.
She's fun.
She's a little jokester here, guys. Leave comments
make it
below. Tell me what you guys think of Shannon's hair. I think everyone needs to get stroked, right?
I mean, yeah, with a rose.
With a rose. Oh! Thumbs up, subscribe. Love you much.